Hello, everybody. I'm Captain Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach. I'm the founder of the Dream Business Mastermind and Coaching Program, creator of Dream Business Academy, founder of No Hassle Newsletters, and host of this podcast, Dream Business Radio, now in its 9th year. We're fast approaching episode 500, which is really astounding to me. But welcome to another fantastic live edition of Dream Business Radio. My special guest is, I don't even know how to introduce him, so I'll just say leadership coach extraordinaire, Mike Agugliaro, and I'll give you a better introduction in a second. So, in fact, let's get right to it because in preparing for this interview over the last couple of days, I do, believe it or not, like to prepare. It might not seem like that, but there's so much I want to pack into half an hour, so I'm going to dispense with all the other little things I usually talk about and introduce my guest. Mike Agugliaro. First of all, I want you to know he's a friend of mine. We've known each other a long time, used to be in my coaching program. And he's just like, man, talk about a rocket ship. But Michael's expression, Michael has proved the world wrong and continues to do that every day. Mike's story starts like the story of many people, struggles, family, school, etc. In his teen years, he lived on his own and faced many hardships until one day, Mike shifted or had a shift in his mindset. I got to figure out which one of those happened. The one mindset shift that sparked a life of transformation and mastery. He started on a journey in martial arts when he was 15. He devoted himself to mastery over the last 30 years. And that led him to creating his own martial arts system in 2009. And then Mike applied the same mindset shifts and just, extraordinary skill sets, I guess. And he started his own electrical company in 1984. In 10 short years, his once struggling electrical company grew to $32 million a year. Do you know how big that is for an entrepreneur electrician who's usually, and I know Mike in his early years was like living and working out of his truck. He'll tell you all those stories. It's pretty amazing. By the way, he's got a lot of books. You should read those. His mindset leveled up once again. And then this is when I met Mike. He started a really amazing leadership group called CEO Warrior, the largest training and coaching organization in the world for home service businesses. So electricians, plumbers, etc. He grew that company into an industry transforming success that helps thousands of service companies collectively generate more than $500 million in revenue. Globally, CEO Warrior serves clients in 6 different countries. Pretty amazing. And today, Mike is also working at a new level, which is Mike reached out to me a couple months ago and told me this new company he's got called Food Dogs. We're going to talk about that. Mike, welcome to Dream Business Radio.
I am super excited. And man, 500 episodes. That's admirable, man. That's admirable.
Oh my gosh. And so, but that gives me permission to ride my own clients a little hard and say, it's too hard. It is hard, but you got to do it. Right. So, when you and I met, I want to say, I think we actually shook hands at my second event, which was the Philadelphia Dream Business Academy. Right. Yeah. You came to that event and you were thinking of starting CEO Warrior because, again, you had grown this super successful business. I took your very long resume because I wanted to condense it because, I don't want people tuning out when you read these long things. They want to hear from you. But I mentioned some struggles, challenges growing up. I mean, we've all had that. And then you experienced a mindset shift. So that's where I want to start. Did you experience that? Did you figure it out? Was it something like, how did that shift happen? Because that was like the turning point, right, for your life and then your business.
Yeah. Let me share that. And I'm understand, like I'm Captain Jim, right? I'm before you were living on the boat. We became
That's
friends.
Right.
When I started my electrical business, like a lot of people that struggle, you ignore the struggle for a long time because you become complacent to the pain. If you guys ever heard the story of the guy goes to see his friend and he sees his friend, he's living on a farm and there's a dog laying there, his friend's dog, and it's laying on a nail. And then finally the friend, he says to his buddy on the porch, he goes, I got to ask you, son, why the hell's your dog laying on a nail? And he goes, oh, don't mind him. He got used to laying on it. And so, I mean, there was like 10 years of getting used to laying on the nail, just getting up, grinding it out, figuring it out, trying to manage everything until two catalysts happened for me, Jim. The first catalyst was my business partner, Rob, came in one morning and he said, "Hey, I'm out of here." Now, we were an electrician, so we used to eat off lunch trucks. So I thought
Right.
maybe he had a case of the craps or something. I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, man. We'll
See
see
you
you.
later.
We'll
Right.
see you tomorrow." Right? And he's
Yeah.
like, "No, I'm done. I can't do this no more. You keep going doing it." And I said, "No." I said, "If you're done, I'm done. Let's do something else." So that was the first turning point, was like, man, I guess we can't keep doing this because eventually our body's going to fall apart. And then electrician, anybody in the service industry, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC, like, there's a life expectancy to what your body can do, climbing in attics and crawl spaces. The second one was my
Yeah.
son being born, and me sitting there one night. He was in the hospital still with my wife. I went home and I built one of those gliding rocking chairs, so she could breastfeed and stuff. And I remember after putting the rocking chair together, sitting in it and just breaking down crying. And the reality was, I was going to be just like my dad. I was never going to be home. I was going to work 7 days a week. And that reality hit me so hard. Between those two things, I said, you know what? We have to figure this out. We must do something different. And for everybody that's listening, one of the things that I'm glad you're here listening, Jim, because not only is he a friend, he's a mentor of mine that helped Catalyst. I'll talk about that when we talk about the coaching business. And I learned that, you know what? There's people that already figured it out. And yeah, you might get some stuff out of books, and I've read thousands of books, but I'm going to tell you something. I loved when I went to your event, Jim, because I'm a guy that has to be in a room, total immersion. I need to be connected like this, and I have to be able, my mind moves all directions. And when something comes, like I go, wait, Jim, what about this? And so, that's what really changed for Gold Medal. And in a 10-year period, we took it from under 1 million to over 32 million, 200 employees. So in 2017, just about 5 years ago, I had 200 employees, 165 trucks, and I sold it in 2017. And I don't say that for people to brag or pat me on the back, but I sold it with a sign my name and walk away deal, which is unheard of in most of the world today.
Yeah.
I literally signed my name in 2017, and Jim, I said, thank you. I did a great job. I served the 200 employees, and I walked away from, and that was the chapter of that story was closing.
Was Rob still with you? Was he with you the whole time?
Yeah, he was with me in Gold Medal when we sold it. In 2014 is probably around the time that I was coming to your event and I was exploring. I was like, hang on a minute. I kept hanging around with my friends. And every time I would get around a friend in the service industry, I wanted to tell them how great I was doing. Oh, I just bought 20 more trucks. I hired 14 more guys. And they would say, oh, well, good for you. I can't find no good help. I have no money. My wife wants to divorce me. And I got tired I was almost afraid to share my own success because I was afraid that it was making them feel bad, but I was dimming my own flame. And when I was looking to build the coaching business, and when I came to see you, I wasn't looking to just build a coaching business. I was looking to change an industry. Right. I wanted to change what they would classify as blue collar plumbers, HVAC electricians, and I wanted to change it in a big way. And I wanted to come out and knock it out of the park. And for any of you that are listening to Jim, like, look, the first year, I didn't figure it out in the coaching world. I went out there, me, all tattooed up. I was in a button-down shirt.
You're pretending to be somebody else, right?
100%. And then after about 8 or 9 months, I had people and we were serving them. We did $1 million our first year of coaching, but it didn't matter because I came home one day and told my wife, I'm like, this is killing me wearing this butt. I felt like I was choking to death.
Yeah.
And she made it so simple. I mean, my beautiful wife, we're together since we're 15. So I'm level 51 now. In a couple weeks, I'll be level 52. I would never say 52 years old. That sounds like a shovel in your hand.
Yeah, right.
I'm level 52. And she said, well, just stop. Don't do that. And I threw out all the button-down shirts. I threw out all the pants, all the shoes. I put on jeans. I put on a t-shirt, and I went to the world exactly who I was. And then, long story short, in less than just about 7 years, we had thousands of clients. We sold over $40 million worth of coaching in 2020. And then I brought on an amazing partner, PE firm called Corridor Capital, because you got to know when there's a point that you need people that are smarter than you in areas that can build it bigger.
Right. It's
And
like
also,
when does the next rocket stage fire, right? And whether you have that or not. So,
yeah,
what's interesting is when you started that, and I remember when you came to my event, and I'm very, very observant of people, even when I'm in the zone and training and stuff. And I'm like, he's writing down more than what I'm teaching. He's watching what I'm doing, right? You even told me, Lynn, I just want to see how you did this. Not so much learn, but I think we have shared some information. But you shared that with me. And I tell people occasionally, again, not to brag, but it's just, I think it's helpful when you share some of the things that have made you successful and have helped other people so they too can do it, right? So
yeah.
People have told me when I get referred, they go, well, Jim is as invested in your success as you are. And I know that about you. Like, you care so much about the plumbers, electricians, HVAC people, especially with CEO Warrior. It's like you would be so in their face and you would challenge them because you know there's more they can do. And if you simply give them the book, they're not going to read it. Like, you really, and that's that whole CEO Warrior thing. I remember when you said, what do you think about this? I think you showed me the whole initial logo and I think, well, that's pretty wild, right? But it shook people up, right? And I think you had this, gosh, I know this is going to sound wrong, but you had this kind of animal magnetism with your tattoos and the look you had and the t-shirt. When I don't think I ever saw you wear a shirt and tie, but I did that when I started coaching. I'm like, hey, I'm Jim Palmer, and let me tell you about some smart business stuff. That's not me, right? So when you got comfortable in your own skin, that's when people were super attracted to you, and that's when I think the growth took off like a rocket ship.
Yeah. And you know what was cool? And I don't
Is
know
that
if
fair?
I ever said, I don't know if I ever said thank you to you for something, but at your event, you had 3 different people there that were virtual assistants. And I was like, man, it was just me. I said, I need one really, really bad. So out of the 3, I interviewed all 3 of them. And then one of them, I went up to her and I said, hey, I'm looking for this, but I gotta be honest with you. If the F word freaks you the hell out, like, we probably won't be a fit. I was just transparent. And she said, I won't curse on you. She said, F no. And it was Lindsay. And
it was Lindsay P.
She's like a sister of mine. She was with me the whole ride of CEO Warrior, my very first person. I love her to death for it. She was helping me build things, sell things. And, I'll never forget that about her. And it happened at your event of facilitating an environment with cool people and me being willing to be transparent. And maybe she was just amused by my craziness in the beginning. But thank you for that, because that happened at that event.
That is so crazy. And I remember that. That is, by the way, her dad. That's when I met her dad. Her dad came to that event. He was a ex-cop, right? And so they drove down together from Canada. Hey, so yeah, Lindsay's very, very special. So Mike, one of the things, again, we have some things in common. People told me, oh, you're a content machine, written the books, create the programs. You've also, like, how many books have you had? I've tried to look at, like 12 or something like that.
I've written 18 now.
Oh my goodness.
I just, this one just came out, which is called Mind Power, which is my latest book. And content, I'm a creator. Like, my three values are learn, create, and teach. And so when I sold CEO Warrior and the PE firm added up, Jim, all the intellectual property I built in about 7 years, I built over 2,000 pieces of intellectual property between
that went with that company, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They got it all. And they got 17 of the 18 books, but it was okay, because you know what, Jim, what I tell people, if you're doing what you're doing for 3 decades you're not growing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I naturally grow and I know I have to ascend. And at CEO Warrior, in that period, I changed the industry. I changed the way, I mean, in the last 15 months, 20 clients at CEO Warrior Contractor sold their business, and 80% of those
Oh my
people
gosh.
became Deca millionaires, which means they got 10 million or more put in their bank account. So like I've created not only change in the industry, I created legacy for some of the hardest working humans in the world today. But I also
Wow.
knew in 2020, based on this pandemic and stuff, I knew that there was starting to become a need. Somebody needed to start stepping forward and help change humanity some. And I could have stayed, keep doing what I was doing at CEO Warrior. The thing was running itself. I had a whole team. I would stand
Mm-hmm.
on stage in front of hundreds and hundreds of people, and we'd be walking fire and all kinds of fun, crazy stuff. But you know what? I kept getting that calling, and me and my wife kept saying, you know what? Someone's got to step out there and start helping people, because people are living with so much guilt, shame, trauma, and they're struggling. And that's what ended up us saying, you know what? We got to find a partner for that. And we built this thing called Food Dog. And if anybody doesn't know what a food dog is, they're these big imperial lion dogs that a lot of times sit
Ah.
outside, like you sit outside emperor castles. There's a male and a female. And the point of it was we wanted to bring something powerful, but also balanced. Because Jim, I don't know if you experienced this, but I did at CEO Warrior. What happened was I had all these majority men. We had women, but it was majority men, and they're
Mm-hmm.
coming and they're building their companies and they're making money and getting divorced. And they're
Yeah.
making money and getting sick. And I'm sitting here trying to solve this, but why is the plumber's wife that's home with the kids, why is she going to come and learn about marketing and sales? And it really bothered me to the point that I knew I needed to create something where I could have men and women, husband and wife, partners come together and learn about life stuff, about relationships, communication, how to get rid of shame and guilt. Like, you know how many adults today, 50, 60 years old, are still living with the pain of being bullied when they were 8 years old?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I felt like I was driven here, and we know what we're going to do. Like, we are going to help 1 million people or more in a decade or less in 100 countries or more shift how they think, how they live, how they create legacy. We are hands down gonna shift that for everybody.
You know, one of my early mentors, not on a personal level, but I read all his books back in my early business life, was Zig Ziglar. And Zig, one of the things I admired about Zig is,
Yeah.
first of all, he's just had a wonderful mind, great speaker. I mean, just reeled you in with his homespun advice. But he also said, "Let me tell you something. If you don't have success at home, I don't care how you don't have success at work. You can't have one or the other." And
Yeah.
a good friend of mine built this amazing company. And early on, he's much younger than I am, but early on, he said, "I'm doing it for the family." And I called him out. I said, "Bullshit. You're not doing it for the family. You're doing it for your ego, and because you're addicted to the success." Your kid, believe me, Mike, my oldest boy turned 40. How old do I feel, right? Your kid,
Ah,
yeah, I know, you're gonna blink and your kids will be gone. I said, you have to figure out a way. Yes, build your business, but you can't. I mean, when you're an entrepreneur, you're going to miss a soccer game or a ballet or a school concert. You're going to miss something, but don't miss them all under the guise of I'm building this business for the family, because the
yeah.
family won't even know you. It sounds like Food Dog is mindset and success, but also the other half of that, as Zig would say, success at home.
Yeah. And it's the relationship. Like, look, my daughter, she's 20. She started her own, they were homeschooled, my kids. After
Mm-hmm.
I had them in public school for a little bit, I said, man, this got to change. They were ripping the entrepreneur from my children's soul. So I
Oh,
homeschooled them. And my daughter at 17 was 200-hour yoga certified. She had her own yoga virtual and in-person business at 17. My son
wow.
My son will be 23 on my birthday. He was born 4.5 weeks early on my birthday. And he had his own business since he's 17, teaching martial arts, combat. When we went into COVID, they went right to virtual without anything. He's authored his own book called The Modern Day Warrior. And when I look at that, Jim, that's because I never lived this life business balance thing. There was life for me. And I never tried to isolate my kids from what I was doing. And I never called it work. Like for me, I always say when people, they hate Mondays, hump Wednesday, thank God it's Friday. Yeah. I say that's got to be a tough world to live in. Like Sunday afternoon, if I'm flipping burgers, I might be recording a video for someone because I love it. That's my life. That's what I live for. And I would tell people, listen to this, like ask yourself, like, are you a slave and you can't wait till Friday to shut down? And ask yourself, like, could there be another way to live? And this is a lot of what we teach today. And, all over, Jim, the world, everybody's this 10X, 10X, 10X. And I'm like, I get it. Let me tell you what no one's telling you. You must 20X yourself to 10X anything.
Yeah.
You can't 10X nothing without 20X in yourself. And I've learned that because being on my own since I'm 15, I understand struggle. Being with my wife since I'm 15, I mean, we figured out relationships after 3 decades and children's and businesses. You learn a whole lot and you really come to the grips, Jim, that you know what? Suffering really is a choice. And the best investment you can do is investing in yourself. And most people don't do it. They just don't.
Yeah. Stephanie and I just celebrated 42 years, by the way. So, I mean, we said, because we travel on the boat all the time, says it's so when our kids were growing up in high school, sorry, little sidebar people, but it talks about relationships. Kids growing up in high school and our kids would say, most of my friends' parents are divorced. I said, well, it's 50% probably. But and the people we meet as we travel, I'm like, okay, she's clearly 20 years younger or 20 years old, or whatever. And it's like, man, I think we're like a dinosaur at 42 years because it's so rare. But I applaud that because it's an important thing. I had so many prepared questions, but I'm totally digging our conversation. We got about 10 more minutes. The people who listen to this show and who follow me, as you know, they're entrepreneurs, small business owners trying to grow. Some are doing 6 figures. Some are doing multiple 6 figures. A few are doing 7 figures. But what you've achieved is like, and I do mean extraordinary. I don't just throw that around. So what was it? I mean, I'm thinking it might have been the martial arts or many things, but martial arts is something that just, from what I understand, just builds amazing confidence. Like, I don't know whether it's nobody can mess with you, so therefore I'm going to go out and be my own man. I don't know what was the thing that made you build a $32 million business from a truck?
It's 2 parts. First part is mastery. I love the word mastery because mastery is not the kung fu guy on the mountain with the long white beard. That's not mastery. Mastery is being better tomorrow than you are today with intention of wanting to improve, right?
Yes.
If I look at my dad, I love my dad and he's still alive. He's still the same person he was 40 years ago. He never evolved. So that's the first thing is mastery. Second thing is movement. I'm a person who changes things. Like I wanted to change the industry. When I owned my service company, I wanted to change how service was delivered in New Jersey. It was a movement for me. And when I started CEO Warrior, it was a movement for me. How right now, changing humanity is a movement. And I think when people, they don't realize the power that they really have. They only look at their past. They only look at what they were told. Like, and it's funny because when your kids are little, you say, oh, you could be the president. When they're 15, you're like, you ain't never going to be the president. Just get off the video game, right? And then you get to life and a boss tells you you're not good and you start carrying all these things that you think you are. I think the third thing is identity. Identity is such an unknown thing. People get the concept, like identity is who you are. But let me share something about identity, and maybe people never heard this before.
Okay.
I believe you build your identity, okay, past what you want to create. If you guys listen, if anybody's listening and wants to go for an 8-figure business, or you want to create a company that's 100 million, I don't care what it is. I'll cheer everybody on. So if anybody needs a cheerleader, Facebook message me and be like, hey, I'm going to build a 500 million. I'm like, you can do it. Build your identity past it and let the goal catch up to you. Most people are trying to build their identity while they're growing.
You got to unpack that a little bit. When you say build your identity, I mean,
yeah.
I remember years ago, I was in this training company that said, you have who you are, you have various roles. Is that what you mean? Like who you truly are as a person when you say build your identity?
Yeah. So if you look at really what holds people back in life, it's resistance. And what is resistance?
Okay.
It's not the gas prices. It's not the economy. It's not the pandemic. It's none of that. The only resistance you have holding you back is the framing of your thoughts that you're programmed with. It's your software system. And a lot of people, maybe that makes sense for you. But wait a second. If I know that everything that happened in my past created me into today, what about if I defined exactly who I would need to be to grow a $500 million company? Who do I need to be? Now, I'd love to tell you it's so easy. Go, well, I just need to be a better husband. No, it's not that easy. You have to like imagine like Microsoft Word, and you have to take the most updated version of that identity of how to live passionately in a relationship. And you have to drive it into your processing system. Now, it's only going to stay there based on the level of resistance. Because if I take a whole pile of crap, right, and then I take something, somebody said to me, they said, oh, I have a cup of water here. I said, this is a cup of water, but if you put just one tiny speck of crap in it, it's no longer water, it's crap, right?
Oh my gosh.
So you got to remove that. So if everybody just steps and goes, okay, and clarity, right? People, the gym, I used to do this all the time. I used to talk sometimes in front of 1,000 people, and I'm starting to do talking again out there. And I would hold up, I would say to everybody, who wants to make more money? And everybody raises their hand, and I'd give $1 to someone. And I say, good, you're done, go home. And they go, well, it's only $1. I said, oh, so I pull out a 20. I go, here's a 20 for you. I said, I'm not going to go home for $20. I said, you want to make more money, but you're not clear how much money you want to make.
Right.
And people live with that sense of not clarity. So your identity has to be clear. I used to get up every morning, Jim. First thing in the morning, I had a pen or marker next to my bed. After I showered, I would write right here on my end, 10, which meant 10 million. I wanted my company to grow to 10 million. I wrote it every day on here till my company did 10 million. Then I said, okay, what's next? I'm going to make my identity 20 million. Every day I wrote a 20. And then I did it for 30. And people might think it's crazy, but there's a psychological pattern when you take a pen, and I'm not telling you guys write it somewhere. I don't care. Yeah. I didn't tattoo it, thank God, because I'd be crossing it out, right? 10 right. And 20 and 30. But the fact that you see it, and it matches your identity, you will fly there faster than you could imagine. It's really true what people tell you about it.
Yeah, I like that analogy about the water. And doggone, I can't believe how fast this time's going by. But, I think you know this about me. I had this deathly fear of public speaking my whole life. And then when I was an entrepreneur, and I started writing books, people started inviting me to speak. I'm busy, I'm traveling, but thanks. So I was like, really? And then I had something happen to me. And, so we have 2 older boys and twin girls, and, Jessica. And, it just, my fatherly instincts wanted to, all our life, we wanted to help them go to college. Yeah. And it just wasn't there. We didn't have the business big enough. It wasn't throwing off cash. And Mike, what I tell people now, I call it extreme motivation. I think we can justify anything we want, whether we want to do it or not do it. But when it involves somebody that you love, like if I wanted to say, okay, I'm happy doing $500,000, but that business is not throwing off enough cash to do this. But then if that's not throwing enough cash to help my girls go to college, that personally killed me. So, I went to Toastmasters, Dale Carnegie. I went to professional hypnosis. I did everything. Turns out I'm a pretty good speaker, as you've seen, but I had to have something bigger than my desire to grow a company, so maybe that's what it is for some people. They just get it's the dog, the dog laying on the nail. It doesn't hurt enough until it affects somebody you love. And maybe it's your family. I think that's probably the ultimate thing, right? So something other than yourself. So Mike,
And
what a
the
fun half
phrase,
hour. Yeah, please go ahead. Then we'll have to wrap
Jim,
up.
the phrase that people probably have heard is they overestimate what they could do in a month and underestimate what they could do in a decade. And the reason why I say that is if I go back a decade, which is probably roughly about when we met and became friends, and I look at Jessica, and I knew her in the beginning because she was at that event, and I look at her then, and a decade later, you got to be a proud dad because I had a call with her. I mean, she is just an amazing, powerful woman, business owner.
She built a huge real business.
If you look at that in a decade, people they overestimate what they want tomorrow and underestimate what it could look like in a decade if they focus. And I did it. You've done it. Jessica's done it. Lindsay's done it. And I watched these people have done it. So I would tell people, don't get disappointed because you didn't get something this week or this month. Like, stay the path, stay relentless, and stay focused, and it will come to you.
Mike, I would love to have you back. I know you now live at the Jersey Shore, some amazing beach. I haven't even seen it, but I'm sure it's a beautiful place. And I mean, is that like your full-time residence at the shore?
This is where we lived the last couple of years. The bay is right there. The ocean's right over there. And I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to come back if people see value and I could serve. Have me back again. I spending time with you. We could go for days on this.
I should just plan on doing an hour next time because I didn't even ask half the questions, but I guess that's from interviewing people for this long. You should prepare, but then you don't need it because you just take off. So I didn't ask you enough about Food Dog, so we should figure out more about that. But give me, where can people connect with you? Because I'm sure they're going to want to find out more about yourself.
Yeah, go to fooddog.com. That's the website. You'll find all the information. Find me on social media. I have a free Facebook group that's all life stuff. It's got free trainings. I got one called The Money Cure. Every human should just go get the free training Money Cure so I could help get you aligned and stop pushing money away out of your life. And that's the best way. And I'd love next time, let's plan an hour and we'll do more for everybody.
Really dive. Because I'm a huge fan of the mindset and people that achieve so much. I tell people all the time, it's not necessarily skill set, strategy, branding, positioning. It's up here. If you don't fix what's up here, all the rest of it doesn't mean anything. So you've got a lot of talent. Great seeing you again, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. Boom.
Hey, folks, that wraps up this very special interview with Mike Agugliaro. I want you to connect with him at fooddoggroup.com. You'll certainly be glad you did. If you're new to this channel, connect with me at getjimpalmer.com. Remember, part of my legacy program, which is now almost 1 year old. Yes, it is. I think I did it in May of last year. You get all my books. I can't reach them, but you know where they are. 6 books. It's part of my, like Mike wants to help. What'd you say, 1 million or 1 billion? How many people did you want to help in 10 years?
1 million people, minimum.
1 million people. And I believe David Phelps, still, part of the dream. And David wrote this book. And one of the things had to do with legacy. And I'm thinking, well, I'm getting a little gray. I should probably start thinking about my legacy. But I love my lifestyle. I don't want to work more than 3 days a week. And I love traveling. And it occurred to me, I was just thinking about it and praying about it. And the story was that what got me thinking about this was a book. And I said, well, I got 6 books and they're pretty nice books. So I've made all my books, not for any little promotional period. You don't have to opt in, but you can go to Amazon, you can go to Barnes & Noble and the iBook store. You get all my books for free. That's how I'm going to help impact more people. So anyway, sounds like a little commercial, but it's actually darn good information. So anyway, thanks. My name is Jim Palmer. I'm Captain Jim Palmer. I'm still Captain, Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach. Until this time next week, another fantastic interview. You take good care. Thank you, Michael.